What is going on, everyone? Welcome. It is Trading Trends with John Salama, CMT, and Rocco, typically we call him the all-time high Maltese dog here, and we will call him that for today because he's an energy dog, although he's rarely full of energy. As always, a lot going on in the markets, pretty tepid volume, as is typical throughout the summer, as we've been talking about, but a lot going on. Crypto maybe finally waking up. We'll take a look at that 1 to 2 month highs. Ethereum and Bitcoin getting a lot of attention right now. So let's take a look. And the week is pretty much continuing like we had it from 2 days ago in terms of the leaders in alpha besides the crypto wake up. So let's see the trends that are developing here this Thursday, August 20th, 2026. Retail, so it's an overall down day. I got SPY down 40 bips here. IBIT domestically leading to the downside, down 1.2%, and volatility up a bit, about 50 bips. We'll take a look at the indices in a sec. Retail going lower here down to due to Walmart really missing a sales number for the first time, I think, in many years. They raised outlook, I believe, in guidance too for the rest of the year, which is rare to be down heavily, but they never miss sales numbers is the gist there. So you're seeing also the Dow be down 80 bips with that. Biotech there saying no thank you today. And Chinese internet, let's take a look at this KWEB. These are the big movers today. They're not finding dollars, so they're saying no thank you to retail, biotech, and Chinese internet. We were hoping, not hoping, but we were trying to see if that new, resistance would be the old resistance would be the new support. I'm not so sure. Let's take a look. And then while crypto finally pops 6 to 11%, depending on if you're looking at Bitcoin or Ethereum, we'll see how it's looking in terms of what the past year has done for both. Trader texted me yesterday, and I said, wake me up, please, in short, when Bitcoin gets above 90K. But it is up 6% today. And again, as I said, for Rocco here, new all-time highs for energy. Congratulations. We said this a couple days ago and last week. If you're long energy, there's still a little bit more to go. Those calls that we said in October, they'd be paying you well here. So let's get into the great dashboard panel covering all the most traded stocks and ETFs, the ones that matter. Everything in the show is always the stuff that matters. As always, no narrative, just truth. Props to the stock market. All right, so here we go. Micron today was up 2% for the the semis are up a little bit today. Micron's up 2%. SpaceX, yikes, down 6% today for that name. Tesla down 2%. Moderna, a lot of give back. You say, whoa, down a quarter of the company. I don't know if you saw us, but it was up 150% yesterday on the development, through Merck, that they're essentially, developing cancer vaccines personalized using RNA technology. So today, give back after a monster move yesterday. Walmart down 9%, as we said in the opening after the earnings miss. Big move for Walmart. That is massive. Marvell up 3%. They're liking the semi today, as I said. Russell, that is a quite 1.5 sigma move lower for the small caps, down 1.2% today. MicroStrategy benefiting from obviously the crypto boom after being down for many months on that, and Amazon participating in the downside in retail, down 1.3%. And as we said, aforementioned, we'll do a deeper dive. IBIT up 6%. It's been a long time since crypto had a day like this. So first off, as always, SPY chart intraday. Here is liquidity enters the room and really doing nothing all day. The VWAP at the beginning of the day going on this is a 5-day chart, was 766.70. As I talk to you right here, right now, it is 766.5, down ever so slightly. SPY is 766.22. So much ado about nothing. We opened down about 35, 40 bips, and we basically stayed there. And vols firmed up a little bit throughout the day, up about 50 bips. Under 50 RSI. Overall, sellers more in control than buyers. Low volume day, as I said, expected around 35 million shares for SPY versus a 20-day average of 45 million. So down about 15 million shares, or a bit of a chunk here. More importantly, as we zoom out here, when in doubt, zoom out. Maybe zoomed out a little bit too much on the screen here. All right, boopity boppity, which are, of course, always financial terms. So to me, SPY here, I'm looking at relative strength and different indicators here, also on a different screen. The all-time high came right here on the 13th at 779. We held 779 essentially the day after, and the day after that, and the day after that was 777. I have this rally here. Let me see exact RSI. 93.38 continue to crank. So on my other software here, I have a high of August 17th, which is just a couple days ago, which sounds crazy. Remember from the August, the video I did in July, I said look for this bearish distribution phase to go into basically Labor Day. So now I'm going to use this August 17th number. I know it sounds crazy. The 13th is there, but what we're looking at here is the breakdown. So you have the 17th, and this is where it sounds crazy, the art and science. But look at this floor that had put in, and we talked about this in the video starting around the 5th. Look at this from here. After this jump here, when we gapped up on August 4th, up 1.8%, we were at this level all along until that 17th finally started to break down with that 0.5%. We started to go south of 775. I'm sorry, really, to be cute, not cute, but factual, quantitative. We went south of 773 for the first time since that gap up, and now where are we? 766. So again, that old ceiling, or that old floor, becoming our potentially short-term ceiling. As all I've said here, ending on or around, we've been calling it a Iron Maiden trade because I'm seeing Iron Maiden that Sunday, September the 6th. But so I think your options expiration for the weeklies will be set forth. That's the way we've been talking about selling credits and getting, in terms of options credits. Back to the forecast. So September 2nd is what I'm seeing here for this bearish distribution phase to end, for the sellers to be more in control, basically trading south of VWAP as we get closer to these 50 RSI neutrality point, which I do believe will happen. Look at the candles as well. Market telling you we're not ready yet to go higher. Down 40 bits, by no means are we hemorrhaging, but look at VWAP on the day, 766.55. They're saying no thank you by about 60 bips. I expect this behavior to continue on very low volumes. No one really wants to participate on the downside, but they will exit things that are weak, areas of the market that don't believe in potentially like a Chinese internet. That's what makes crypto waking up right now interesting, because the overall it's a beta pull back. So we'll take a look at the crypto chart to see exactly what level is important. But as I said here, September the 2nd is when on or around is when I expect this behavior to end, and this will likely base right around 763, which is our 21-day exponential moving average. South of that, I do think as we get closer to September 2nd, you should be buying them. For right now, I wouldn't rush in. I do think we're going to stabilize and go lower, a bit of zigging and zagging, and stay around the 767 level. As I said, around the second, around 763. So trades, yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're going to pay a ton. You could sell those 778 September 4th calls, 780, to round. And then if you want to sell the strangle, you could sell $14 below and 14 above. That's going to sell you the 752s, which is in between your lower band and the 21-day exponential. So you could do that and collect some theta as we will slowly bleed vol over the next 2 weeks. But you'll see what I mean. Not massively, because I'm calling for a downturn, small in SPY. That means firm for vol overall. You've seen VXX. I said when it hits 19, wait, because it's probably not going to go any further to the downside, and actually bounce right there. I think 1901 or so, and it continued to go higher. So that's all for SPY, and that's pretty much it. Let's get into what they're moving today, what everyone wants to talk about. Blast off in crypto. Let's see. Here's the 1-year chart. Look at this. Oh my goodness gracious. You'll love to see it. I honestly did a little bit of investigating, not a ton though, into crypto. And look at this. Ethereum through the ETF ETHA, which is quite liquid, has popped today right here, right now, after this monster 11% move to its 200-day moving average is 1767. We're there right here, right now. Ethereum is 80 RSI. It hasn't been like that all year. That is a character change. That is folks saying, yes, let's get in line, and I am willing to stay in line. What happens? So don't forget, this bottomed back here at the end of June at 11.5. It's important to understand that. And it has been, and we talked about it a little bit, greed in Ethereum. The way I visualize this chart is reverse VIX. When you're fearful, VIX goes up. When folks are greedy, market, of course, climbs, but they gobble into especially Ethereum is the way I've typically seen the correlation. We talked about this, I think, somewhere in July. I said there's a lot worse places you can be. It was towards the end of July, so it's about 3-ish weeks ago. I said there's a lot worse places you can be than owning Ethereum, and why I said that was this climbing out, and also just looking at the technical indicator, taking the temperature of the stock, or ETF in this case, from July 6th, right after America's birthday, all the way till today, this is above 50 RSI. That is a stock, an ETF, an asset doing the work. It is basing, the buyers saying, no, you know what? we're going to stay put. We're actually going to apply a little bit more pressure. We'll bid this up, and the sellers absolutely not gathering strength. They're going to the wayside. So this, right when this started happening, these moving averages, that was the key, started to stabilize. Of course, it's just math. So the shorter day sample size, the better. So your 9-day started curling up, then your 21-day, which I have here in the orange, and then etc. So now 200-day, of course, if the kahuna of them all starts to stabilize, then you really could start to look at 6-month highs and so on. So this is how I looked at the same thing of this Ethereum, Sugar, Microsoft. I don't really care. So the 200-day moving average is still going down by about 6 cents a day. The debt cap balance for this, I don't want to really call it debt cap balance, but you're still relatively fresh in this. So I understand folks chasing, and it's likely to go higher short term. The 80 RSI is really indicative of that. So this to me looks like an easy chase trade. In terms of the breakout system, also don't forget Ethereum at 3-month highs. There's your conviction right there for that signal. So crypto, Bitcoin at 2-month highs. We'll take a look. But in terms of calendar, I see strength in this. This is not normal. To see, I'm seeing stability. What I mean by not normal is that these are going to go like a stallion, I think, through these 200-day moving average. You have to start looking at the chart to see the next area of resistance. And I would be looking at $20, which is actually very important, which has served as the gap down at the beginning of February. And it was all this price discovery from Thanksgiving all the way through the beginning of 2026 through the end of January. So I think this is angling $21. Sounds crazy to say. I think it happens in the next 8 days or so. Trades. Like I said, I think this is bullish through the end of next week. 200 moving average is 1767. The candles will let you know. So this was up 10% yesterday. Today up 11. I know crypto is going to crypto, but ideally you want to see it up 5, and then up 2.5, and then up 1, and then up 0.5, and then probably down 3%. And then you'll know it's tired. Something like the end of next week. But crypto can very likely crypto. I would buy. I mean, if they're angling this, understand. The thing has also what I wanted to say was the rally for this. I'm looking at technical indicators for strength, just the same way we looked at the SPY, that breakdown of form or strength now becomes resistance. For Ethereum here, like August 12th is when this started to get going here. VWAP that day was 1420. So this thing just ran $3 and absolute monster volume yesterday and today on it. So folks are really waking up. I'm looking at the strength of the candle pattern to let me know it's not tired yet. And the 80 RSI, just telling you the temperature, it's absolutely healthy as an ox. So about the 27th or so, I think this ends. And in terms of a strike, I think you can buy those 20 November calls. They're going to be expensive. And I would sell the September 4th if they're listed against it. That's 20 strike. Or you don't have to do that. It's crypto. Let it run just outright. You could likely buy the November 20 calls. They're going to be expensive. Alternatively, you can just buy this Ethereum ETF, ETHA. The thing is a crazy 60-cent ATR on a $17, $18 ETF. So it moves a lot. This thing could move 3 points in just a week. So understand that as well. Alternatively, you can likely sell the 14, even 14.5, or the 15 puts going out September 4th. You'll likely get paid a decent amount for that. Worst case, you get a sign there if it goes down there and you own Ethereum there. They're loving it today. Let's go to the next chart. Is IBIT up a monster? Not as much. Ethereum's a crazier mover, so it typically moves 2x as Bitcoin, and Bitcoin up 6 even here. It's very interesting. So this Ethereum ETF has reached a 200 moving average, literally at it as we speak. It's carving more of a comeback. IBIT is not there yet, okay? IBIT, as you can see here, the 200 moving average, it's $2 off, okay? So it's up 6%. Yesterday was up 6, so it's got a nice climb, 73 RSI. This is as hot as it's been all year. Don't forget, this peaked last October at $72. So this thing has really had, its issues. The rally's been a little bit tougher. I'll use, just due to the crypto relationship, I'll use close to the 12th for that when this got going for crypto, although it was messier right here. when the stock was trading 36 bucks. So this is also $5 in your face. I do think this 200-day moving average will serve as a magnet. And if it has the the strength rather, that Ethereum does, it will try getting to its floors back from Christmas, Thanksgiving, early 2026, which is $47. So my trade was basically a mirror. It would be the November 40. You don't have to go that far. I think you might be getting a bone here in buying the 43s. Yes, they're going to be expensive, hence why I said sell something against it, or you can just enjoy the beta, or just enjoy the asset allocation higher. But I do think this looks good. I think it's hitting high day as we speak right now. Is IBIT? Is that true? 12 cents off. View up is 40.66, and they said mine. So this lets me know. I actually do like the idea of the. They're going to be expensive, as I said, or you can also buy the IBIT outright. Stock ETF rather. It's ATR is a little bit crazy. I mean, it's $1.10 on a 41, so it's a big mover. Alternatively, I'm giving you other suggestions. As you know, JC said, it comes to me for ideas. I was spinning out ideas like that October or November trade of buying the 43 calls. Alternatively, I do believe you can sell those September 4th if it's listed closest thing to the 36 half strike. You can sell that, and you probably get still something. You'll get paid something. But again, I do think the crypto move higher continues for the next week through the end of next week. Ethereum showing me some signs. I bet I would like to see it getting to 43 and then holding there. And then, wow, I mean, before you know it, this thing can be moving higher. But baby steps here in crypto land. And then they're only gobbling 3 areas: Ethereum, Bitcoin, and silver today. So absolutely risk from the losers, right? Ethereum, 200-day moving average going lower. It's at that important point right here. The buyers got to step in. I think they are a little bit through the next week. IBIT, we already talked about what's ahead of it. Silver, so again, also this peaked in January versus crypto land October. Silver's been trying to do some hard work. It fell into purgatory in June, and now it's etching to its 200-day moving average. So the old momentum movers that typically somewhat, rally on a dollar dip are finding light of day here. Silver at a very important point. We've been highlighting. I said, that is really going to be the test. It's a rising 200-day moving average. I wanted to get there. It's at 64.5. It's $3 away from that point. View up on the day, 61.09. They said mine. It's up 2.7. This is a big, big mover. What I hope for, and I don't really know if I even have a favorite trade for this, but what I hope for is what you want to see is for this. I think it's going to sell off in the next 2 to 3 weeks. I know it's been money here going from its rally since August 3rd, $52, zooming to 62. It's going to face some Mike Tyson type punches, in my opinion, at 64 to 64.5. You're getting to that area. I like the candle formations that have been happening. Is what I wanted to see out of the S&P. Look at this floor now. It used to be a ceiling for SLV at $58. Now they're saying, no, that's my floor. Tony Robbins, by the way, was the name of that inspirational guy. I think that, sounds like something he would say, let your old, ceilings be your new floors. And that's exactly the way I see charts. And now it's etching its way here. The candles look great at 4%, up 2.6 today. It's not getting tired yet. Overall, though, I see significant resistance, at the 64 to 65 level. So guilty until, I don't want to say guilty until proven innocent for this, because it is a rising 200-day moving average. It's going up by 9 cents a day. In terms of trades, I don't love selling the 66 calls going out September 4th, but I think you can. This one's going to be a little bit messy, honestly. I think the momentum pulls it higher. It gets magnetized towards 64. Half. You could probably sell strangles on it. Other than that, I know things when they're very visual and full of clarity to me. I think this one just goes higher. You can possibly buy the October 65 calls, but like I said, I think this one's going to be getting tired here. I'll be impressed if this one gallops and gets to a 64 handle. I don't think it's going to happen. All right, those are the gainers of the day. Boy, we talked about those, but there are some monumental movers. I think you crypto bros and sisters, if they exist, although you never see them at those crypto mixers. That's for you. Okay, what are they selling off here? Walmart dragged entire complexes down. Retail, yikes. A very encouraging 52-week high, literally 2 weeks ago in retail. JC always says, and a lot of folks are saying, the consumer's never been better. But the K-shape is absolutely real in the economy, and that top slither absolutely picks up, the upper echelon. So August 5th, 93.5 was the peak, rising 200-day moving average, under 50 RSI for the past week or so, and now it's testing with this floor here, rising 200-day, as I said, at 85.5. I believe XRT will base here, but it is experiencing some of a momentum breakdown. 87 even is VWAP. It's saying no thank you, and that's how you get a candle like that. Higher lows here since getting above the 200-day. I do like what I'm seeing through retail, although Walmart wanted to single-handedly change the narrative today. What I think is very likely to happen is this is going to base right around the, it possibly sees an 85 handle, and then I do think it starts to move higher towards 89. Likely is not pretty. If you want to get paid, don't hate selling the September 4th if it's listed 84, 85 even puts. You're gonna go against the grain. You can buy the October or November 89 calls. I wouldn't do it today. Maybe tomorrow or the day after that. But I do think this one gathers itself back there in the coming 3 weeks. It's going to be ugly, though, and something I will be looking to watch for rotations under the hood. They hate it today, though. Down 2.2% is XRT, and that's a multiple sigma mover. Next, and they're also just taking profits, right? That was a recent 52-week high. Look at this. XBI yesterday, they're hating it today, down 4.1. That is called a bearish engulfing candle. That is literally swallowing up Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man style from the day before. That's okay. Sometimes we vomit if you have too many shots, and that's what happened here. It's a momentum breakout up until yesterday. What you want to see is a cup and handle here and a rip through the market today saying no thank you. And you'd even have a bearish divergence yesterday. You had on the highs, the stock hit 170 basically, and it closed at 169.5 above VWAP. Beautiful, 73 RSI. And then today it giveth and taketh away. Look for this to reverse over the next 2 to 3 weeks. I look for a move to 156, 157 here, right where my cursor is, likely equating with about a 55 RSI. It's been a hot group. Look at the 200 moving average. They're not even thinking about selling this, but I don't think it's going to be in vogue for the next 2 weeks. Let it cool off, and then when it gets to 157, I would participate. So I don't love buying puts. You could probably sell the one, 167 September 4th calls, 168, something like that, and buy something against it if you must to sleep at night. But I don't think this is done, as I said, and move south towards 157 in the coming 2 weeks for biotech. All right, and then the chart I have been wanting to look at, Chinese Internet, KWEB. We're hoping for a turnaround in this. Typically, because this is super risk on for me, and it's just, there's a market everywhere, anywhere for sure. But this is like a big risk on sign. And look at the Dikembe that happened here at 29 even. And we were talking about it when I was on the All-Star charts last Monday. I said, JC was saying that you care about crypto. No one cares. Anyone that matters doesn't care about crypto. And for the most part, it's true. But I like seeing the risk on nature of it. And, a little bit frothy. You can make, more money. KWEB got super Dikembe. And I said, with IGV wake up, crypto should have got going. So when I saw, wake up and you see Ethereum up 10, 15, 20%, crypto is going to crypto, and the market sometimes does a lot and a little, sometimes does a little and a lot. And I know that makes sense to you traders out there. So specifically in Chinese Internet's case, this thing got Dikembe'd at $29 all the way down. That's how you got a candle like today, down 2%, a multiple signal mover today, down 2.1. I believe one of the companies missed earnings ugly, Baba. Look for this to base this week with a 26 handle where it is. Don't forget, this hit VWAP, by the way, today is 26.59. They said mine by about 5 cents right here. A close above that will let me know that it's a nice bit of a spring here. I'm looking for this to base at a 26 handle, even essentially, and then a move over the next 2 to 3 weeks to 27, and then if it outperforms 28, it's going to be super frustrating. 200-day is falling away. I know the correlation between Chinese Internet and Bitcoin is broken down. I still see it, though, somewhat correlated due to the fundamentals of it, the risk-on notion of those investors, that like dollar or yuan or whatever currency risk-on matter. So this thing had been above 50 RSI for quite a while. Ethereum is stronger. And that's why I said the correlations broke down, and now it really has in the past 8 days. It started to come down just a little bit. Look forward to base. In terms of trades, I don't. If you're really spicy, you can sell. In my opinion, the step forward, whatever's closest to that, 25 even puts. I don't know. I kind of don't hate. It's contra buying the October 27 half calls. When it gets there, though, the stock, I would get out. Okay. Top 3 gainers. We've been going much on here. Top 3 gainers the past 5 days. If I talked about the ticker again, I'm not going to kick a dead horse. Ethereum, the week belongs to you. That's how I know things are going just fine in the market. If you recall, this used to be part of the show back until like 2026 started. We used to always talk about this and your greed ratio versus VXX, and obviously it peaked in October of last year at $36, and then boom, more than cut in half. But the week belongs to you. Ethereum up 23% or almost 5% a day. Today, 2x that. Like I said, I told you where it's likely going. More price discovery around $20, and we told you the trades, how we like that one. Second best week belongs to you. IBIT up 14% or almost 3% a day. It's doing 2x there. I told you where this one is likely going, those old floors, and how to trade that one best. And now third, the week belongs to you. GDX up 13% or almost 3% a day. Today doing just a little bit of that. That's what you want to see. Look at the hell, although given profile. This peaked in March, the day before the war. Yikes, energy is going to get expensive for these guys, gold miners. They do have to pay energy costs, and they have to deal with it. We talked about this ad nauseum, but looking at the chart here, I love sticking the landing at essentially $70 through late July. And then what did it do? August 7th, really strong performance here. It gapped up 7% and is now doing the absolute hard work as it tries to get to par or $100. It hasn't been above 102, by the way, since the week of the 52-week high. We were really early in the war, 1 week into the war here. So that was back in March, of course. View up on the day, 98.10. They said mine by about $1, and it's just 50 cents off the highs is GDX. Now what for this group as the 200 days starting? It's still rising, not that it stopped and it's overbought. I personally wouldn't chase it here. Each chart, I just tell it like I see it. It probably does go higher, but it would make sense for me in the chart for this to take a breather down to that 88 level. I don't think it does. To me, no gaping trades except if you just buy the breakout. And if you want to do that, it would be likely buying the next area of resistance, which is likely the 103's October calls. Again, you are super late, in this terms of the rally. We were talking about the gold miners and them going like 2 Fridays in a row on the weekly wrap-up show. This leg of the rally, to be honest with you, started on July 21st at around $74 after these gapped up. So this is around, $25 now into extension. So that's all I'll say about that. GDX, number 3 best performer in the past 5 days. Losers, it's interesting. Airlines, the worst place to be. It is profit taking. They peaked 15 days ago, okay, at $34, and they've gone straight down. Oil's held up / went higher, and oh my goodness gracious, look at this W formation, Wu-Tang, and Wu-Tang ain't nothing to quit. And this looks like it's going to hold, but let me just look up something else on a different screen, different timetable. When in doubt, zoom out, my friends. This looks like it's going to base someone the next week, potentially. Dude, I honestly like that. This looks like it's going to get cute, maybe a little bit lower, 29 even, and then it's going to stop. This is where they typically let it stop. Also, in terms of the internals with the RSI, somewhere around 33 to 37. Maybe a little bit lower in terms of the duration. I think it honestly does go to 29 even. Then it starts to bounce towards 31. I would wait for it. You could probably sell those 28 puts if it pays going out 3 weeks. I don't think it does. Alternatively, I would wait for it to base, get a couple higher closes. We're talking about part of this segment because it's down 8% in the past week. I think the bleeding's almost done. Oil rising is direct margin attack on this group, so it just takes them in stride, unfortunately. But in the next 2 to 3 weeks, this bounces to 31, and that would probably be the trade I like putting on the November 31 calls after this starts to finish bleeding. I think it's almost done. Next, ugliest week. So it belonged to the airlines. The worst week. If you own airlines, sorry, that was the ugliest group of the market after a recent high. Go Birds. Cybersecurity peaked August 14th, $102. Beautiful chart. This thing, once it woke up for real May, they said we are running. And look at this interesting point. I just said stocks have memories. They let things go to similar RSIs because that's where the strength is, saying, you know what, I'll get in line. I haven't had pepperoni pizza in a while. I'll bid that up. I'm interested. Cyber, which I think we need in this age of AI where everything's slop, and I think companies somewhat don't have a plan at enterprise level, so they're going to get the Palo Altos and all the other companies that are important, meaningful in this space. Since April, May, folks have woken up to this idea, and it's not going away. This has not gone below 44 RSI to get cute in the past, 3-4 months. Short-term basis, yeah, still meaningful to me. To me, respect the peak that this just had. I think this has another week in the penalty box. Likely straddles around 96 even. It's 21-day exponential, but potentially with volatility goes as low as, I could definitely see them sending this lower to about 87 to 88, still higher lows. That looked like an indecision here, this big dojo on July 28th. And then the floor would be around 88, somewhere around the end of next week. But they love this group. That will be your invitation to buy. Short term, you could probably sell those 100 September 4th calls if they're listed. I wouldn't outright buy puts, but you can probably buy, 88 puts in October to enjoy the short-term move lower. But I don't want to trade that short move lower, but I believe that's where it's going. That's cybersecurity. Number 3, worst week, is one of the leaders of the year. So they're just, is it a sign of something bigger? Is it a trend change? Is it just give back? The semis have not peaked. Give me a break. I'm sorry. It has been a nasty place for them, though, since America's birthday, I will say. This has not been able to hold water. And when I say hold water, it means you haven't been able to hold above 50 RSI. Here's where I'm saying semis are a little bit concerning to me, and semis, as they go, so goes the market. I love healthcare and financials, and they're important, but you do need semis. What I'm curious about is June 22nd, this peaked. The semiconductors. This is the field. This is more Micron, Taiwan Semi. It's not just straight snorting NVIDIA like SMH does. So less concentration risk. What's likely to happen here, and this is the flows have been ugly. A lot of things changed here for semis starting July 2nd. I'm looking at Chaikin money flow, which is the orders from 3 to 4 o'clock. The week of the all-time highs here, once we got under this 575 level, Bafuera, okay? It said no more, and it started to go lower. And look at the ugly Dikembes. Where at? Very near that level, honestly, 570. So I think this is not folks are in love with it for the next 2 weeks. I think this goes lower, and that is also a reason for the market not going higher, because you have an anchor on the Samson, essentially, of the market. But internally, the flows have been ugly for the past 6 weeks, which is concerning. Look for this one to be somewhat tethered, close to 535, 537. It's 21-day exponential, but I do look for this to test. If it gets volatile, I see this one going to about 475 right here, which would be above those July 29th lows over the next 2-3 weeks. So look out if you own semis. I think it's going lower. I think you can sell the upside calls. I get, like the 565 September 4th calls. I believe they're listed. You could probably sell those. Alternatively, if you want to, get some income from a down move in a highly concentrated area of the market, I believe you can buy the 480 October puts for the next week or 2 weeks. I think they'll likely pay you as this group goes lower. Don't forget, this is top 3 gainer year over year. So it's down 5%. That's why we're talking about it. Over the past week, or 1% a day. Today, look at that, though. Flat. So is it done? It's still a strong group. So it probably gathers a little bit of strength. I told you it's going to try to be tethered to about 537. It's 21-day exponential. But overall, the tide will lift. It will take it lower. And again, you're seeing that here in the RSI under 50. Hasn't been able to hold it with any gusto since the end of May when summer was starting. So not so bueno with the semis. Look out for this group for the next 2 weeks. Top 3 trades of the past 5 days. We get out of here and wrap up the week for me. If you've been long Ethereum and or IBIT and the gold miners, which we've been talking about, congrats. You're absolutely crushing this week. Peace. Be good to one another. Go Birds.